Have you ever felt a strange kind of heaviness? Not just physical tiredness, but a deep spiritual weight. It's like you are wearing a costume that you've had on for so long. You've forgotten how to take it off. You look in the mirror and you see the face, the history, the name, the struggles. But somewhere, deep in the background of your mind, a tiny voice whispers, "This isn't all of me. This is too small." We spend our lives trying to fix the costume. We try to patch the holes, clean the stains, and make it look presentable to the world. We often find ourselves endlessly clearing blocks. Mental blocks, emotional blocks, physical pains. But what if I told you that the you who is tired, the you who is anxious, the you who feels unworthy, isn't actually you? Today I want to tell you a story. It is the story of a brave soul, your soul, and how it got lost in the game of being human. We're going to look at how we moved from the absolute freedom of the spiritual body down into the heavy density of the physical body, and why we accumulated all these programs along the way. You aren't broken, you are just wearing a very, very heavy suit of armor that you forgot you put on. Let's go back to the beginning, before the pain, before the programming, before the forgetting. Imagine for a moment a realm of absolute light. No heaviness, no fear, no separation. This is the realm of the spirit, what we call the spiritual body in its purest form. In this place, you are everything. You are connected to everything. You know everything. But here is the catch. In a realm where everything is light, you cannot experience the light. As the beautiful story, The Little Soul and the Sun, reminds us, if you are surrounded by white light, you cannot see yourself as the light. You cannot know what forgiveness feels like because no one has ever hurt you. You cannot know what courage feels like because there is nothing to fear. So the soul, your soul, made a choice, a brave choice. It said, I want to know myself. I want to experience who I am, not just conceptually, but experientially. To do this, you had to enter a world of contrast, a world of duality, a world where light exists, but so does shadow, where love exists, but so does fear. This is the Earth game, but there was a rule to this game, a very strict rule. If you came down here knowing you were an infinite, powerful, indestructible soul, the game wouldn't work. If someone shouted at you, you'd just laugh and say, I am eternal love. Your shouting is funny. You wouldn't learn forgiveness. You wouldn't learn resilience. So you agreed to the veil of forgetfulness. Think of it like a deep-sea diver. To explore the bottom of the ocean, the diver has to put on a heavy lead suit. The suit is clunky. It restricts movement. It's hard to see through the helmet. This suit is made of layers. First, you put on the mental body layer, the ability to think, to judge, to separate this from that. Then, the emotional body layer, the ability to feel sadness, anger, joy, and fear. Finally, the physical body layer, the density of flesh and bone. When you first arrived, the suit was brand new. It was flexible. You were a baby, still remembering the light. But the veil was already starting to drop. You agreed to forget you were the diver inside the suit. You agreed to believe, for a short time, that you were the suit. And this is where the trouble began. Because once you believe you are the suit, you start to believe that every scratch on the suit is a wound to you. Every dent in the armor is a failure of your being. You entered the simulation to learn. But the simulation was so convincing, so immersive, that you forgot it was a simulation. And that is where the first program was installed. So there you are, a magnificent eternal soul squeezed into a tiny, dense physical body, wearing the heavy suit of forgetfulness. You are playing the game. And then it happens, the first ouch. Maybe you are 3 years old, you are singing loudly, expressing pure joy, pure spiritual body energy flowing through the physical voice, and someone, an exhausted parent or a grumpy teacher, snaps at you, "Be quiet, you are too loud, stop making that noise." In that exact second, a massive shift happens in your subtle energy system. Your emotional body takes a hit. It feels rejection, it feels shock, it feels shame. Because you are young and dependent on these giants for survival, that emotion is too big to process. So what do? You stuff it down, you trap that vibration of shame in your energy field, it becomes a frozen block. Simultaneously, your mental body, the survival computer, kicks into gear. It needs to make sure this pain doesn't happen again. It analyzes the data and writes a new rule of code. To be safe, I must be quiet. To be loved, I must make myself small. Click. Program installed. Now, that program was useful when you were 3. It kept you safe. But here is the tragedy of the human experience. We forget to uninstall the outdated software. We carry that program into the next situation and the next lifetime. Over time, that simple rule, be quiet to be safe, compounds. Like interest in a bank account, it grows. By the time you are 20, it's no longer just be quiet. It has morphed into a deep-seated belief, my voice doesn't matter. By 40, it's I am unworthy of being heard. By 50, it manifests in the physical body, perhaps as chronic throat issues, thyroid problems, or a literal inability to speak your truth. We think these are physical problems, but in BodyMaitre, we know they are just the final echo of a program installed lifetimes ago. Fast forward to now. You have been wearing the diving suit for hundreds, maybe thousands of incarnations. You have accumulated layers upon layers of these survival programs. I am not enough. Money is scarce. Love equals pain. The world is dangerous. You are walking around carrying tons of emotional baggage and mental rigidities. And the worst part, the amnesia is total. You have completely identified with the suit. Listen to the language we use. We stop saying, I am experiencing a feeling of anxiety right now. We start saying, I am anxious. We stop saying, I am currently lacking funds. We say, I am poor. We take a temporary condition and turn it into our permanent identity. We mistake the clouds for the sky. The screen mistakes itself for the movie that is playing on it. And this is where the suffering really begins, because these unhealed programs, these wounds in your mental and emotional bodies, they act like psychic Velcro. They are magnetic hooks. If you have a deep program that says, I am a victim, you will unconsciously walk through life scanning for someone with a matching program that says, I am a victimizer. And your hooks will find each other. Why do we keep dating the same type of person? Why do we keep landing in the same toxic work environment? It's not bad luck, it's programming. Your unhealed wounds are directing the movie of your life, casting actors to play the roles that confirm your deepest limiting beliefs. You are running on a treadmill of suffering, trying to fix the outside world, trying to change the actors in your play, not realizing that you are the writer, the director, and the projector. You feel lost, you feel heavy, you feel like you've forgotten something vital, something essential, but you can't remember what it is. This is the dark night of the soul. This is the bottom of the ocean in the heaviest suit imaginable. But the good news? It is usually right at this point of maximum heaviness that the diver remembers they can swim up. But then a moment comes. Maybe it happens during a meditation. Maybe it happens during a crisis where you simply cannot carry the weight anymore. Or maybe it happens right now, listening to this. You stop running. You stop fighting the monster in the dream. And you ask a single powerful question. Wait, is this heavy feeling actually me? Think of a movie screen. You can project a movie about a raging fire onto the screen. The audience feels the heat, they see the flames, they scream in terror. But does the screen get burned? No. You can project a movie about a flood. Does the screen get wet? No. You are the screen. The depression, the anxiety, the I am unworthy, that is just the movie. That is the program running on you, but it is not you. This is the heart of BodyMaitre. We don't try to fix your soul. Your soul is the screen. It is already perfect, whole, and indestructible. It doesn't need healing. What we do is clear the film. We remove the accumulated layers of the diving suit that have rusted shut. When we use our dowsing charts, we are essentially acting as the IT department for your consciousness. We ask, is there a limiting belief in the mental body causing this struggle? Yes. Is it the belief that I am unsafe? Yes. Is there a trapped emotion of abandonment in the emotional body fueling this? Yes. And then we clear it. We acknowledge the program. We thank it for trying to protect us when we were small, and then we hit uninstall. We release the trapped emotional charge. We rewrite the mental code, and suddenly the weight drops. The suit gets lighter. You didn't change who you are. You just remembered who you always were underneath the layers. The amnesia begins to fade. My friends, the journey home isn't about going somewhere. You don't go to the light. You are the light. You just fell asleep dreaming you were a shadow. The limitations you feel, the financial blocks, the relationship patterns, the health issues, they are real experiences, yes, but they are not your truth. They are just the heavy clothes you wore to play this game. And now the game is changing. You are waking up. So here is my invitation to you for this week. The next time you feel that heaviness, that sudden wave of fear, or that thought that says, I can't do this, stop. Don't fight it. Just ask it, is this a truth of my soul, or is this just an old program running in the background? If you have your pendulum, check it. If not, use your intuition. Feel the difference between the heaviness of a lie and the lightness of the truth. You are the brave volunteer who came down to earth. You put on the heavy suit so you could learn how to take it off, and you are doing it. One layer, one breath, one clearing at a time. I'm Derek. This is BodyMaitre. If this story resonated with your soul, please like and subscribe and share this with someone who needs to remember who they are. Welcome home.